Rangers, and welcome to Ranger Ruby YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be going over 10 things that I learned when visiting Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. Okay, now, so like I said earlier, I'll be going over 10 things that I learned about visiting national parks when visiting Yellowstone. Now, I will note that some of these apply to a lot of parks, or all of them, and some of these apply just to Yellowstone, so be sure to note that when I go through this list. And starting with number 1, this is the first thing that you get told when visiting any national park, and it's the first thing that I found out to be true. There is no signal whatsoever inside the park, and that means like Wi-Fi or cell service. And it was actually really weird because like outside of the park, we had plenty of signal. But the minute we crossed over into the border, it's like everything just went gone. And there was only one spot where I even got a remote enough one, and that was at Canyon Lodge Visitor Center. But when you're visiting Yellowstone National Park, or really any national park in general that's out west and in the wild, don't expect a signal. And thing number 2 is to have a plan. And what I mean by this is have a list of specific goals that you want to go see and achieve when you visit the park. For example, when I wanted to visit the park, I wanted to see the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone and Old Faithful. When my mom wanted to go, she wanted to see Grand Prismatic. And along the way, we could see anything else we wanted, but we wanted to hit off those 3 things. And that gave us kind of the path that we wanted to follow through the park. And that leads nicely into thing number 3, to be loose with your plans, because yes, you do want to see those things on your plan list, but you need to be able to go off on some detour to see this cool thing. And sure, it might add 30 minutes, but if you plan for that, then it just comes naturally and it's an adventure and you'll never know what you'll see. For example, we saw paint pots, Gibbon Falls, and so many other little geysers and rainbow pools that we would have never have seen if we just stuck to the plan. And thing number 4 is to bring a camera. This I cannot recommend enough. If you have a cell phone, that's great, you already have a camera. But I also brought along a little Polaroid camera, or you could bring a digital camera or something just to capture those memories and just to keep them. Whether or not you're gonna make a scrapbook with them like I did, or you'll just keep them so you can remember them on your phone. No matter what, bring a camera. And number 5, stop and read the signs. This is something that you usually generally might skip over because it's a long sign with a lot of information. But if you saw my vlogs, I stopped and read the signs a lot, and they actually gave me a lot of things that answered questions that I had or I didn't even know I had. And you might be walking, looking at a waterfall and wondering, I wonder how tall it is. And then you read the sign and it tells you that plus 10 other facts about it that you never thought you'd know. So stop and read the signs and you might learn something as well as learn and answer questions that you already had. And thing number 6 that I learned inside Yellowstone is to use the pullouts. When you're driving along the road, Yellowstone National Park knows that you want to stop and you want to look at that random river. And yes, you want to stop and look at that herd of elk all the way over there. So they built in these pullouts inside the road that cars can pull over and stop and look at the scenery. And those were honestly some of the best things that we saw. We saw some bison, some elk, we saw just a really cool river, or all sorts of stuff that we just saw just by pulling out of the road a little bit and taking a step outside of the car. And thing number 7 is the park bookstores or gift shops or whatever you call them. They're amazing. There were 2 that we visited. We visited the one in Old Faithful and the one at Canyon Lodge, and they were both amazing. They're full-on stores. They've got everything from food to t-shirts to mugs to posters. They have it all there. And just be prepared that you might want to get a lot of mementos to remember your trip, not a bunch of stuff that you really didn't need it. But it's really good, so be sure to be aware of the park store. And thing number 8 that I learned when visiting Yellowstone National Park is to bring food. This is super useful if you want to just keep on going along the road, or if you just want to take a stop at a little picnic bench and enjoy a sandwich. Pack some lunch meat, pack some bread, and not only do you not have to pay extra to get stuff at like the actual park places, but you can make your own sandwich and everybody's happy. Bring a bag of chips, bring food. It helps save time, money, plus it adds a little more fun. And number 9 that I learned when visiting Yellowstone National Park is to give yourself time. This kind of goes along with number 3 where I said to be loose with your plans, but we were in Yellowstone National Park for 2 days. That's it. And I feel like we could have done so much more. We didn't even see like the bottom right half of Yellowstone or the top left half, or there was so much stuff that we just couldn't see because we didn't have that much time. And so if you think that you can do Yellowstone National Park in a day, you're wrong. We had 2 days and we felt crunched. So remember to give yourself time and be generous when visiting the park so you can really get the most out of your Yellowstone experience. And number 10 is to listen to the park rangers. When I went to Canyon Lodge Visitor Center and I talked to the park ranger, I had just a couple of questions about things along the way that we might be able to see. And so many of the things that we saw in the latter half of our trip was because of that park ranger discussion. They know what they're doing, they know how far the rides are, they know the traffic, they know everything. So literally, if you go and ask them, you can get that much more out of your limited time in Yellowstone, and it'll be that much more worth it. Well, everybody, that is the end in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and comment down below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to click that red subscribe button and little bell next to it to always know when I post new videos. Thank you so much for watching again, and I shall see you next video. Bye!